let's talk about the games themselves. Casino, you touched on it earlier. The 11-6 Cleveland Browns going into Houston to verse the 10-7 Houston Texans. Who you got in this one, Casino?
No matter how much I like CJ Stroud and the Texans at home, I've got to go with the Cleveland Browns. I've got to go with the Browns. I really like how they've been playing. Yeah, I think they're going to run all over them. I think this defense is too good. And I think they're going to disrupt CJ just enough to mess with them. So I'm going Browns. Going Browns.
Yeah, I don't think in the history of football, we just saw it in college. Whenever you have an explosive offense going against the number one defense, I would say 80% of the time, the number one defense beats the number one offense just because the number one offense, you're playing against probably bad defenses or definitely worse because obviously they're number one. And so you're putting up numbers you're not always going to put up against other teams. With this
Mm-hmm.
Browns team, we've seen them play really good teams and smack them in the mouth. And then we've
I
seen
mean,
them play really
I
bad
think this
teams
is
and
going to be a
dominate.
close. I honestly think this is going to be a close ass game, dude. I really do. Like, this is a field goal either direction.
Oh, I think this might be Browns handily. I think this
Oh,
might
really?
be the start of where all of a sudden everybody comes to attention and is just like this Browns team is for real, and the AFC,
That's
especially the
could be
Ravens,
true.
needs to worry about them. Next up we have or I'm picking the Browns as well, as you just said, Casino. Next up, we have a very interesting game, a Peacock exclusive. I don't know if you heard that, but it is the 11-6 Miami Dolphins traveling to 11-6 Kansas City. And the talk of the town in this game is this is by all accounts going to be a snow game. It might be one of the top 5 coldest games ever played in the NFL. So this is the story coming out of this game is this looks like it's going to be a weather game where it's going to be like colder than players have basically ever felt on a football field, which is going to be fun to watch. Not fun to
So
play in,
I need
but
you
fun to
to
watch.
I want you to make your pick first because I I've got a juicy feeling about this one. Go for it.
See, I feel like this is so obviously a pick where it's just like this is Kansas City all day. Kansas City all day. It's in Kansas City. You always hear the thing where it's like these fast teams, the second they go up against like hard hitters, they're done. But these guys already played earlier this season and it was a 7-point game.
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins going into this game have the number one offense in the league, first in passing, sixth in rushing, and a top 10 defense. The Chiefs, on the other hand, second in the league in defense, only behind the Browns, sixth in the league in passing, 19th in rushing, and then ninth total offense. So these are two eerily similar teams. But again, I just talked about number one offense going against the number two defense, but they've already played them in a weird scenario, which is when they played overseas. I don't know. I think just how this Kansas City team or this season has gone, everybody's going to be picking them, and I just think Miami sneaks it out.
Damn it!
I
I
think
was hoping
this
you
is
picked
going
KC. I'm picking Miami.
I think
I'm
this is going to be a close game. Like
so
you
here's
said, a
my
3-point game. I think this is 3 points Miami.
so I'm going Miami on this one for multiple reasons. It's supposed to be a cold ass game. There's supposed to be weather, right? You said snow, right?
I
Uh,
believe so.
I can't. I don't know if that one's true, but still, the weather. Just because Kansas City plays in cold weather, and they're used to that in Miami. You know, they still teams still travel. Miami still goes up to Buffalo and plays. Like these players have played enough in this league that I think, like temperature wise, it's going to just affect everybody. To me, I don't see that being a huge thing, being the temperature thing. Um, I just don't trust Kansas City. I don't trust Kansas City's receivers. I think if you can fluster Patrick Mahomes early, that's going to mess with him. Um, I'm going to take the veteran offensive players for Miami. My kid's awake. The veteran players, offensive players for Miami over the team that just can't catch a fucking football.
That's very true.
And
Yep.
Miami, you said it has the sixth best rushing team in the NFL.
Just
Cold
pound that
games,
rock. Yep.
it's just pound it, pound it, pound it. And then they're going to be expecting that. And then you break one loose to Tyreek Hill down the fucking line. KC, they don't really have much of a running game, in my opinion. I think what you said, it was 10th or something like that.
No, it's 19th.
Oh, 19th rushing. Yeah. I think Miami controls the clock. I think they control the ball. I think Mahomes is going to get frustrated because some of his players and receivers are going to drop the ball early, and that's going to spiral. Everybody's picking KC in KC with this weather. I don't give a shit about the weather. Normally I do if it's like raining. The snow, yes, has an issue to it, but with that, just grind the ball out. Pound it,
It
pound it, pound it with the rushing. Dude, put
so I just
Archia
read
or whatever his name. Fucking let him go off.
this
I'm
where
sorry, my
you
kid a bottle.
said with the weather, it's going to be -8 degrees, but with the wind chill, it's going to feel
130.
between -20 and -30 degrees. So that is, I mean, you couldn't pay me money to play in -30 degrees where people are going to try to be hitting me as hard as humanly possible. Like, that sounds like an absolute nightmare. But that'll definitely be a game that'll be fun to watch exclusively on Peacock. So don't go to a bar that doesn't get the Peacock package, or I think they still get the game through DirecTV Business, blah blah blah, who knows. On the other side of the AFC, we have the team that shockingly finished the season as the number 2 seed, where the talk of the town for 2 months was that the Buffalo Bills might not even make the playoffs. They rattle off 6 straight, get to 11-6, and they will be having a home game, kind of, and we'll get to that, when the 10-7 Pittsburgh Steelers travel to 11-6 Buffalo Bills. I mean, in terms of difference of rankings, if we're just going by stats, it could not be more night and day, especially for playoff teams. The Bills, top 4 or 4th highest offense, 9th highest defense, 8th in passing, 7th in rushing. The Steelers, 25th in offense, 21st in defense, 25th in total passing.
How did they fucking make the playoffs?
Uh, by just on a hope and a prayer. The
Yeah.
last meeting these two teams had was in August. The Steelers actually won 27-15. So this is a revenge game in Buffalo against the Steelers. Well, except for this game might be moved to Cleveland, I believe was the last thing I read. Have you read anything about that, Casino, where this game might be moved to
No.
Cleveland? So this game might be moved to Cleveland because it will be too, I believe it was snow was the issue. So there will be too much snow.
You get
And there's a
paid
winter
millions
storm.
and millions of dollars fucking play in the snow. They scrape it off.
Yeah.
God damn,
So
dude. Play in the goddamn snow. If they get moved because of snow, I'm gonna go punch Roger Goodell in the face.
So there's rumors, but as of 7 hours ago, apparently they needed to alert the ticket buying audience earlier. So it looks like this game will be played in Buffalo with snowy conditions. So not only will we have a Saturday game where it might be the coldest ever, we're going to have the first Sunday game maybe be in snow. Who you got in this one, Casino?
I
The
got
Steelers or the
Buffalo's
Bills?
gonna roll them, dude. I think this is the blowout of the wild card weekend.
See, you say that, but we always think the Steelers are going to get blown out, and then they just play really close games. That's one score. I feel like this is going to be a 7-3 point game going into the fourth quarter, and then maybe Buffalo fucks it up. Maybe Steelers sneak away with a victory, but
Oh,
I don't see
no.
that happening.
No.
I think
I think this is the
Uh,
big. I think out of all the games, this is the game that I would have the largest margin in of
ooh,
victory for.
okay. But yeah, we're both picking the Bills. Steelers win this game. Sorry, Steelers fan who I've sided with all season, but even
Right.
this is your peak was getting into the playoffs. Next up,
I
we
really
got
want to
three
know.
more games.
I want to know Steeler guy. Like, I just want to get to know him.
He's our most famous fan, and we don't know anything about him. Comment below. Tell us what you know about, or tell us if you think the Steelers can actually win this game. Next up, a game I feel like I know where you're going, Casino. 9-8 Green Bay Packers going into 12-5 Dallas Cowboys. Uh, Green Bay 11th in total offense, 17th in defense, 12th in passing, 15th in rushing. Cowboys top 5 offense, top 5 defense, third in passing, 14th in rushing. The last time these two played was over 2 years ago. Haven't met this
All right,
year.
I'm
It was
getting
a
my
three
tea.
point game. Uh Casino will be right back. So for me, see this doesn't feel like the game where Dallas fucks it up. Right? This feels like the game where Dallas absolutely rolls them, and then you have the entire media tripping over themselves to be like, Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl, and then they shit the bed the next round. Right? That's always what happens. The wild card is not where they mess up. It's always the divisional round. So for this one, especially because it's in Dallas and we've seen how good Dallas is or has been for this season at home, you got to pick Cowboys. I really think this one and the Browns Texans game have the chance to be blowout games of the week. But also, there's been a lot of history being brought up between, all the Cowboys and Packers game, that famous game where did Des Bryant catch it? Did he not? Which I feel like was the start of every ridiculous, was it a catch or was it not a catch argument started right there. For the record, as an Eagles fan, I don't think he caught it. That ball was wiggling all over the place. So Casino, this is my pick for one of the games I think is going to be a blowout. I'm picking the Cowboys. Do you have the balls? Do you think the Packers winning this game?
No, I I don't think the Packers will win this game. I want them to win this game.
Well,
I
yeah.
want to see Jordan Love go in there, and I I have a hard time seeing the Packers being the team to beat Dallas, but I've already know that I've said it on the podcast that, I think Jordan Love can go and do it. I do think he could do it, but I just don't think that it's going to happen. But if he does beat him, I'll be like, you know what? Good on him. Like, Jordan Love's having really good end of his season. Dallas, yes, they're at home, but they've been getting help. I just can't. I just can't. Again, I just can't see Dallas being this dominant at home. For the whole season. I just don't. I like Jordan Love, but I think that the Dallas will probably beat them by like a field goal or something. But I think they might. You know what? They could might. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm done. I'm picking the Packers. Packers all day.
Whoa. I
Jordan
hope your
Love.
reverse jinx works because, man, what a fun podcast that'll be
I want.
on our next
I'm going to
episode.
pick Packers. You know what? Jordan Love. If he keeps playing how he's playing, I do think that they could pull it off.
I love it. I love it. I'm still picking the Cowboys. I don't think they get
Smart.
him.
That's
I don't
smart.
think they lose or ever get embarrassed in the wild card round. It's always the divisional round. So when it comes to the next round, I think that's where we all of a sudden start seeing, especially if they blow out the Packers, it's going to be the media tripping over themselves to crown them champions before they played anybody. Next up, I mean, how is this not everybody's most anticipated game of wildcard weekend? The 10-7 LA Rams going into 12-5 Detroit, who are having their first home playoff game in 30 years or
Love it.
something like that. 27, I believe. But it is Matt Stafford returning to Detroit. It is
And it's crazy.
Jared Goff.
Since that switch, these two quarterbacks, their stats are almost identical.
Yeah. So,
They're
and it honestly worked out for
they're
both.
almost
Like,
identical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I don't know
these
if
two
you
teams,
send it to me or if I just saw it randomly, but I saw I don't know where I saw it, but I saw something and it showed since the trade, all their stats in every category, and they're off by like off each other. They're about 1, maybe 2 points each direction. Like that's it. They're pretty much identical since the trade.
yeah. The Rams kind of picked up steam at the end of the year. 7th in total offense,
They're
20th
good.
in total defense, 10th in passing, 11th in rushing. The Lions, on the other hand, 19th in defense, 3rd in offense, 2nd in passing, 5th in rushing.
Yeah.
Shockingly to me, they're 19th in defense because I thought their defense was much worse than that. But they do get
No,
pressure on
it
the
was just
quarterback.
so bad last year. They've I mean, going
Yeah,
from
they went from
32nd
32nd to
to the
19th.
19th in a
Yeah.
year, not bad. Not bad.
No.
You halved it. You halved it.
And remember,
And
that's literally what we said at the end of last season was
yeah,
if this Detroit team could have an average defense with this same offense, they would be legitimate Super Bowl contenders. And now
and they
they're the
are.
3rd seed in the NFC and
Yeah.
3 wins away from being in the Super Bowl. Who you got in this one, Casino?
I'm going Detroit, but it's gonna be a scrap. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. You know Stafford wants to come back here and just shove it up their butt, but I and he's gonna do everything he can. I think he's gonna do everything he can, but I think the Detroit fans are gonna win this game for for Detroit because they're gonna be so hyped up.
Yeah.
They're gonna be so hyped up and so rowdy. I there you're gonna have trouble hearing out there. There's gonna be a lot of calls. I think there's gonna be a couple timeouts called because I just can't hear. I don't know what the play was.
No,
Uh,
yeah, I completely
this is
agree. I
exciting.
think I think we get a great Matthew Stafford game, but I think we get a better Jared Goff game to kind of prove not only his former coach wrong, but the doubters wrong about people who still, think he's not as good, especially this season as he has been. I mean, he's the second. They have the second best passing offense in the entire league. He's looked great in games, in big games this season, and nothing bigger than this one. I'm taking the home team as well. I think this is Lions in a great game. This is one of the few games where, as much as I would love the Texans or Packers to upset who they're playing, I don't think it happens. This is one of the few games where I would not be shocked if the Rams go in there and win. I
Mhm.
think they might be the dark horse team in the playoffs that no one's paying attention to that I could see
No,
getting on like a
I
run.
think the Browns are. Like we've already discussed
Well,
it.
but yeah, I think
So
but the
so
Browns,
are
everybody's
we are
picking.
we in true picks right now outside of the Dallas and Green Bay game?
Yes, we're
All
lock and
right.
step. Next up, last one, as we just talked about
Woo!
it, Monday night game. My 11-6 Philadelphia Eagles travel to 9-8 Tampa Bay. The Eagles, 8th in total offense, 26th in total defense, 16th in the league in passing, 8th in rushing. The Buccaneers, 23rd in both offense and defense, 17th in passing, 32nd in rushing. So this is the worst rushing team in the league. Baker Mayfield is also messed up. Ironically, these
Yeah.
teams played earlier in the season on Monday Night Football, which is weird. Uh, the Eagles won that matchup 25-11. Who you got in this one, Casino?
I know they've been on a skid, and I know their defense isn't great right now. They were 1-5 in their last six, but I'm going to take the Eagles mainly because Tampa they had with Baker a decent passing game, but they have nothing else. They have nothing else, in my opinion. So I can't see the Bucks, and I know the Eagles lost to shitty teams, but I just can't see the Eagles losing a playoff game against the Bucks, who have question with health right now.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield, I mean, great season from him. Finished the season, the regular season, 24% completion percentage, over 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Just crazy. But when it comes to the Eagles, I agree with you where it is the last 3 weeks have been a weird microcosm of games they needed to win that they kind of punted on, and then all their players now are kind of making it seem like they were just waiting for the playoffs, and now they're trying to spin it as like, we didn't even want to play at home, we want to play on the road because we're better on the road, underdogs, blah blah blah. Okay, like, I'll take everything you're saying at face value, but if you come out in this game and lay an egg against a, again, 9-8 Tampa Bay team that is much worse than the team you dominated on Monday Night Football in week, I believe that was 3 or 4, when the Bucs were undefeated and everybody was picking them as like a dark horse playoff favorite, that you literally held to 11 points and had your way with them. So this is a much worse version of that team. Baker's beat up, you're beat up, but you should have everybody back. I believe AJ Brown's the only like big name player that is going to be a game time decision. You lost your safety, Sidney Brown, for the season in the Giants game. That Giants game, I will forever never think or talk about that game after this, because why are you starting any starters? Instead, you decide to start half the starters, and then
All right,
two of your guys
we
get
don't have
injured.
time for a BJ rant right now about the Eagles.
Well, that's the end of it. It was just a dumb move to start anybody in that game, punt on that game, rest everybody. You guys have been injured all season. So this is the put up or shut up game, obviously, because it's win or go home. I think the Eagles win this game, even though I don't want them to win this game if the fact happens that they win this game and then they either have to go to Dallas or 49ers next week and just get fucking annihilated. So please lose this game if that's what's going to happen in the divisional round. But as for the wild card round, I believe they could win this game. They've been talking like a team for a month that's just been looking ahead to the playoffs. Well, the playoffs are here.
They're here,
so
baby.
Now's your chance. So
They're
we're
here.
both picking the Eagles. Only game we picked different was Packers Cowboys.
Oh, I can't
Obviously,
wait to
it's
win
not
that.
gonna
I
shape up
can't
like
wait
that.
to win that one. Can't wait.
If you do, I will pop a bottle of champagne on this podcast.
You
that'll
don't?
be
Do you
awesome.
truly think that Love doesn't have what it takes to beat that Dallas defense?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I just think if this game was in Green Bay, I'd be picking the Packers outright. I just think it being in Dallas is one of the reasons why, when it was looking like the Cowboys were going to be the 5th seed, I was like, there's no way they win a playoff game, let alone, multiple. But now that they're going to potentially, well, no, they most definitely will have 2 playoff games at home. I think this is a real shot of them going to an NFC championship game for the first time realistically in a decade. So I just hope and pray as a Eagles football fan that either I am not watching a Super Bowl with the Cowboys or Niners in it. Just please, if the Eagles don't make it in the NFC, somebody else please do it.
Lions.
I don't want to see those teams.
You want the Lions?
I do. If the Eagles lose this weekend, I will be and the Lions win. The Lions or Rams win. Those are one of the teams I'm rooting for if the Eagles are out. So Lions or Rams, you're playing to be my bandwagon team in the Super Bowl. Obviously, I would like the Ravens to win for Lamar Jackson, but we'll see how that pans out. I also think, again, I don't think the Eagles have a realistic shot of winning this season, but I think we both agree most fun Super Bowl matchup as a football fan would be Browns-Lions.
That would be fun.
That's the one I'm rooting for.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
That'd be good.
Yeah.